Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I'm Movie Micah. Today, we will be going over the top 10 Marvel movies ever. Not just MCU, anything Marvel. This can include X-Men, any of the old Spider-Man movies. This can include anything Marvel. But not only that, I've brought my good friend Josh from After Credits to tell me his top 10 as well. So Josh, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I am Josh from the channel After Credits. I do movie reviews, rankings, trailer reactions, video essays, podcast, and more. So if that sounds like something you'd like to see, then please go and subscribe. I'm sure Micah will have a link in the description. Also, thank you so much, Micah, for having me on your channel today. It's going to be a blast. And if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that I'm always in the mood to talk Marvel.
Before we get started, share your list in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's get into our top 10 Marvel movies.
Coming in 10th place today, and this is definitely a hot take, is Spider-Man 3. I love this film. Yeah, it's got a bit of cringy moments like when Tobey Maguire does his dancing, but I really like it. I just dig what they did and how they brought this trilogy to an end, because it sort of shows the rise and fall of Peter Parker, because, you know, his ego takes over and he becomes this more evil version of himself and he goes through growth. But overall, I really like the three villains that they had. And I think this brings a great close to the trilogy, and it's such an entertaining film. I don't get why it gets so much hate.
So I actually also like Spider-Man 3, but it didn't make my list. And my number 10 is Captain America, the First Avenger. You're gonna see the entire Captain America trilogy on this list. He's my favorite MCU hero, and I think his trilogy is amazing. Captain America, the First Avenger just introduces him in the perfect way. Everything really works, especially that first hour when he actually gets the super soldier serum and becomes Captain America. And the ending of this movie is also fantastic. I know this movie gets some complaints, but personally, I really like it, and it actually makes my top 10 Marvel movies.
Coming in 9th place for me is X-Men First Class. Wow, this is like a prequel that's just so good, because it takes these characters, it shows you these characters in a time before you've seen them in such a real, natural way. It doesn't feel like it's changing anything. It feels like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, I can't believe I haven't seen it, but like, I feel like this, I've known that this is what's always happened. It's got great action, great CGI. It shows us how our characters got to be where they are, but X-Men First Class is just such a great film.
So unfortunately, I haven't gotten to see First Class yet, but one X-Men movie I really do like, number 9, is X-Men Days of Future Past. This was actually my first X-Men movie, which is kind of stupid looking back, because the way that this movie works is it combines the two great casts of X-Men. I love time travel stories, Wolverine going back in time and meeting the newer cast. It's so fun, it really works. And then that scene that connects the old Charles Xavier with the young Charles Xavier, it's really cool. I love this movie. Overall, if you haven't seen this one, this is one of the best X-Men movies.
Coming in 8th place today is Deadpool. I mean, it's amazing. Like, the way they break the fourth wall, the way Ryan Reynolds does his humor, I find everything about this film just comedic. Like, you don't have to take it seriously, because that's just the film. I think with the sequel, they went too big, like they did too much with it, but this film is just the perfect amount. Yeah, it's gory, but if you have that sort of dark humor, then this is just the film for you. And he's not a superhero, okay? He's got powers, he fights crime, but he's not a superhero, and he tells you that from the start, and it's just so funny, this film.
My number 8 is Thor Ragnarok. This film just completely reinvented the character in the franchise of Thor. After some weaker entries, I really like the first Thor, but it's not as good, and Thor the Dark World is pretty bad. But in Ragnarok, Taika Waititi just completely injected it with so much fun. This is probably the funniest MCU movie in my opinion. All the characters are great. Hela is a really good villain. It just completely reinvented Thor, made him so much more fun. In every way, this movie really comes together, and this one finally gave us a really good Thor movie.
Coming in 7th place for me is Spider-Man. This is the first proper cinematic Spider-Man we've had. We'd had like some animated shows and the TV show, I think, and a Japanese version. And Tobey Maguire, he's not really that much of a good actor. Like, I'm sorry, like, he's iconic in the role, but he's not really a good actor. But for some reason, I like seeing this dorky kid in the role of Peter Parker, because, like, Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield, okay, they're good actors, but I can believe that Tobey Maguire is this nerd in the role of Peter Parker. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin is such a great villain. Yeah, it's cheesy, it's campy, like the CGI, the dialogue especially, and just the way their costumes look, but it's a film I have a lot of nostalgia for. The endings of all the Raimi trilogy films are kind of bittersweet, and I like how they're handled. So I've said Spider-Man 3 and 1 on this list, but Spider-Man 2 is not on the list.
Number 7 is Logan. I just watched this movie for the first time very recently, and it is easily my favorite X-Men movie. Wow, this film is so cool. And it really works because you care about these characters. Old Charles Xavier was hilarious. Then we have Laura, who is a really fun new character. And after seeing this movie, Wolverine is one of my top 10 favorite superheroes of all time. He actually gets real redemption, and I feel like in this movie, he finally really becomes a superhero. I just love that. And then this movie is really intense. All the action is bloody and scary and intense, but it all just works so well.
Coming in 6th place for me is Guardians of the Galaxy. I just love how this film balances the humor and the emotional scenes really well. So, you know, after only knowing him for like an hour and a half, you feel emotional when you hear a tree say, "We are Groot." And just the quirky humor between Rocket and Gamora and just everyone is just so funny. They use pop songs heavily in this film, and I feel that it works because Star-Lord as a character, you know, listens to those songs, and it works naturally more than it does in Suicide Squad.
And my number 6 is Captain America Civil War. Before this movie came out, I was like, that's not the most fun concept. I don't really want to watch heroes fighting heroes. But the way that this movie makes them both wrong in some ways and right in some ways, it makes you think and it makes you choose a side, and I just love that. There's so much great action in this film. The battles are incredible, but there's also some really great character development for 3 different main characters, Captain America, Iron Man, and Bucky. I love them all more because of this movie.
Coming in 5th place today is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the 3rd Spider-Man film on this list. Wow, not only is this film just like brilliant in the way it tells the story and puts Miles Morales in the lead, it is a comic book put to life. When people hear that, they think, oh yeah, because they had like some text panels, but when you actually really analyze how they animated it, they animated it in 12 frames per second rather than 24 to give it a more crunchy feel. Crunchy is the word they used. On screen, it is drawn like comic books are drawn, and just the attention to detail by Lord and Miller is amazing. I also like how they have 6 versions of Spider-Man, well, 7 technically, but 6 main versions of Spider-Man in this film. And they balance the screen time between them really well, where it's like Miles is our main character and he goes through, you know, his arc, but everyone else gets like their funny thing thrown into it. It's really like made maturely and for adults because I like how the way the story is told, and the use of rap music from Post Malone, like What's Up Danger, just the way that's used in the film is so good.
I see we both really love that movie because my number 5 is also Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This film is incredible. Just the way they balance all these main characters, from Miles to Peter B. Parker to Gwen Stacy, they're all great. I love all these characters. And then we have the villain Prowler, we have Kingpin. All of them have great backstories and arcs. And then the visual style is incredible. This is the single movie in existence for me that just feels the most like a comic book. Everything about this movie is so creative and inventive, and I didn't even know if I wanted to see this movie, but thank goodness I did because it's phenomenal.
Coming in 4th place, I'm sorry Micah that this is 4th place because I know you want it to be at number 1, but this is Avengers End Game. I just rewatched this the other day, and it is phenomenal. Like, yeah, okay, you can nitpick. Oh, they break their own rules of time travel. Oh, Captain America, that means he kisses his niece. Fat Thor is annoying. Okay, Fat Thor is annoying. I'm probably not going to get over that. But this film is amazing. Like, you can't lie. Just when you're sitting in there for, like, it doesn't even feel long. It's 3 hours, but it doesn't feel long. That was just an experience. It was a cinematic experience. This isn't a film to me. This is an experience. This is a part of my life. When Captain America says assemble, when he catches the hammer, I am Iron Man, so many great, quotable, iconic moments, and this film only came out just over a year ago. I've stopped nitpicking about this film because when I think about what this film means to me, it's just too much to care about some minor plot issues.
Number 4, huh? I'll let you live. My number 4 is this film right here, the Avengers. The way that this movie brought all of these characters together was amazing. This is the first time that a real superhero team-up film actually worked. And they had to merge like 4 different franchises together, which is incredible. Joss Whedon just did an amazing job. You have to think you're taking these 4 movies that feel completely different and merging them together, and the banter between all the characters is just so fun. And then, of course, the final battle is so epic. Just so fun to see all these awesome heroes teaming up to fight against Loki and the Chitauri. It's such a fun film.
Okay, guys, so coming in 3rd place for me is Avengers Infinity War. Yes, I just praised on Endgame like a ton, but Infinity War had the harder job because it had to bring these characters together for the first time. The Guardians, Doctor Strange, all of the Avengers, and it brings them together, and it still has them split up in such a way where it's like you feel like they are all fighting the same war, but you know they're still divided. Especially because I'd been excited for this film since 2016. I just really loved it. Some of like the battle scenes, like Thanos versus Doctor Strange, that was amazing. Overall, I just loved the music, the cinematography, the characters, the fight scenes, the introduction of the characters, and the overall story. Avengers Infinity War is such a great film.
Bringing us into my top 3 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This is somehow the best of the Captain America trilogy. While I love all 3 of them, this film has such a really cool plot. The way that Hydra's inside of S.H.I.E.L.D., I love all these villains. Bringing Bucky back was amazing. I loved that action. So many phenomenal action scenes, especially the elevator scene and that first scene, Bucky fighting Captain America. And then the ending is really emotional. Some of the best action in the entire MCU. I love the spy feel of this movie, and I hope we'll get something like this in Black Widow. At the end of the day, Winter Soldier has got to be one of the best MCU movies.
Continuing the trend of me loving these Avengers films, my 2nd place is Avengers Assemble, or The Avengers. It's called Avengers Assemble for me in the UK, so that's what I've called it since it came out. Wow, like, I think bringing all those characters together in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame was harder, but you gotta think at that time they were merging like 5 different films together to create this film, and it's like, how do you do that so well, Joss Whedon? Like, how do you bring these characters, give them the right amount of screen time, have great battles with Loki, and just make it so enjoyable? There's humor, there's action, there's everything you want. Sure, Captain America's suit is a bit cringy, but it's so amazing. I give this film a 10 out of 10, as with Avengers Infinity War, because I just love the introduction of the characters, the overall fight scene, and the impact it leaves on the MCU.
I agree with all of that, but my number 2 is Avengers Infinity War. Now, before this movie, we had never seen the Guardians of the Galaxy come together with the Avengers. I just love all the interactions between like Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Star-Lord. We never thought we would see something as fun as this, but really the standout of this film is Thanos, who is easily my favorite comic book movie villain of all time. He's basically the main character in this film. He is such a good villain because you kind of understand where he's coming from, but you also know he's really evil. That's what I love in a villain, that you can kind of understand them, but you still want them to lose. That's the big thing that puts Infinity War this high.
Coming in 1st place is Captain America: Civil War. What? His favorite Marvel film, like Marvel, not just MCU, is Captain America: Civil War? Yes. Partly because this film did get me into the MCU. Its opening scene is probably one of the best opening scenes in Marvel because it comes with this cool action scene with Scarlet Witch, who's my favorite MCU character. And to see the airport battle scene is the best Marvel fight scene. Endgame final battle is amazing, but the airport battle scene is my favorite MCU battle scene of all time. I don't know if that's ever going to change because you just see all of these characters fight for the first time. I think the humor, the score especially, the development of the characters, and just the overall look and feel of this film was amazing. You get introduced to Black Panther and Spider-Man for the first time in the MCU, and I feel their introductions are just really good. Loads of people are going to be shocked with my decision of Civil War, but I don't want more I can say to convince you that this is just a great film, and it definitely got me into the MCU, so I have more of a personal connection to it, but it's overall just my favorite Marvel film of all time, and I don't know if that'll ever change.
But of course, my number 1 is Avengers End Game. This is my favorite film of all time. I don't know if there's any doubt for me. This movie just did everything I wanted it to, and a lot of people just pick on it, try to find every little problem. But for me, the good completely destroys the bad, outweighs it in every single way. At the beginning, you get to see how the original 6 Avengers react to the snap. The second act is also amazing. I just love this fan service of going back to the moments of the old films. Go back to the Battle of New York. It's so cool. Fan service done right, and I just love time travel. Of course, you can't leave out the third act, my favorite battle scene of all time. All the best moments in the entire MCU are all contained in the final hour of Avengers End Game. The sacrifices of Black Widow and Iron Man. Captain America gets his own amazing ending. I just love Avengers End Game. It did not disappoint me at all.
Anyway, that is the end of the video, guys, so thank you so much, Movie Micah, for having me on your channel today. It was a blast. Honestly, I just love talking Marvel. And speaking of talking Marvel with Movie Micah, he'll be joining me for my review of Captain Marvel as part of my Road to Black Widow. So when that's out, be sure to check it out because it's going to be an amazing collaboration.
And thanks for joining me, Josh. That was a really fun time. If you'd like to check out After Credits, the link to his channel will be in the description. I highly recommend it. You will love his channel.
Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for having me, Micah. And I'm After Credits. If you want to go and subscribe, then please do, and bye.
So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to both of our channels up here so you don't miss out on any of our content. You can also check out some of my videos right up here. Thanks for watching. This is Movie Micah and After Credits signing off, and we'll see you next time.